Let's talk about Phoenix being favored by 5.5. Chase or fade that they cover, Ryan. You did say you think the Clippers are going to make some adjustments and corrections, so maybe you're fading the Suns?
I wish I could. I'm chasing the Suns. I think the Suns win tonight by 7 or 8 points, but I do think that the Clippers make adjustments just to no avail. The Phoenix Suns have won 8 straight big playoff games. They are playing the best basketball in the entire world right now. On paper, the Bucks might look to have a better roster, but nobody is playing better than the Suns. The Clippers like to lose the first 2 games in this series, though. We know that. The last 2, they've done that. So that's a good mix for the Suns winning tonight.
All right, Kenny, you seem to be back. So we're talking now about Phoenix being favored by 5.5. Are you going to chase or fade that they cover? They've been nearly unbeatable at home. I mean, they've won 18 of their last 20.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I'm back for this question because I'm really mad that the Clippers, they were not expected to win game 1. They should not have won game 1, and nearly they did. They led in the third quarter. This was a 2-point game in the final minute. And now the Clippers are bigger underdogs, Jesse. That's just outrageous to me. And when you look at the Phoenix Suns, they had the worst defensive performance that they had all postseason without Chris Paul, 121.3 points per 100 possessions. That is definitely because of Chris Paul being out. And I don't care what you want to say about, how exciting the Phoenix Suns are at home. And, they hit a lot of threes. The Clippers hit more threes. I think that the Clippers obviously are just as talented in that department, and they'll continue to score the basketball on the Suns. And as we saw in that Utah series, what did the Clippers do? They weathered the storm early. Utah had their good shooting nights. They had their big nights shooting the basketball. But every time the Clippers were there to answer, every time the Clippers were there, especially late in the series, they kind of just weathered that early storm, same thing with the Mavericks. And then their consistency on the offensive end and, frankly, their ability to force turnovers really got them to where they needed to be. So I do think that this is too big of a line. I think the Clippers win this game outright. And I think that people stop disrespecting Ty Lue because the man makes great adjustments.
Wow. Strong words from Kenny. Nick, where do you sit on this one?
I'm as indecisive, I think, as Ryan was about this one. I feel like I have to chase Phoenix, and I'm seeing this line down to 5. So there's a little bit of momentum maybe in the Kenny Ducey camp toward the LA Clippers tonight. I'm just having a hard time buying into this Clippers team, even though they've played 3 really good games. One of those on Sunday resulted in a loss. They've played 3 really good games without Kawhi Leonard, but I just can't get over the fact that they don't have Kawhi Leonard. And I know you take Chris Paul away from the Phoenix Suns, and in some ways that kind of evens things out. But it does feel like the Clippers have been playing a little bit, over their skis these last few games. They hit 23 pointers in game 1. They outscore Phoenix by 24 points from beyond the line. The Suns only took 9 free throws in that game. The Clippers didn't turn the ball over much at all. Like, things seem to be going a little too right, I guess, in some ways for the Clippers. And I wouldn't be surprised if that swings back the other way, especially the shooting a little bit in game 2. Obviously, if Chris Paul was suiting up for Phoenix, I would feel really good about the Suns jumping up 2-0 at home. That's really the factor that makes this such a difficult call. But, the Clippers have some things to figure out. The center rotation is kind of a mess right now. They've had some success going small, but they still want to use Zubac. We saw Cousins in game 1. There's just a lot of moving pieces, and I'm expecting some pretty major regression, I think, in terms of 3-point shooting. So for me, that's the difference that swings it in favor of the Suns. So I'll take them to cover that 5-point spread.